Coming up on Be Kind, Let's Rewind.
Today we're doing a versus Roadhouse versus Roadhouse, the original versus the new one that just came out.
Lead star of Roadhouse 89, Patrick Swayze, the legend, the myth, the pirouetting.
Jake Gyllenhaal is playing Dalton, and he doesn't have any muscle either.
Yeah. Not nary one.
Jesus Christ.
Elwood Dalton, because he's the character from Legally Blonde.
Hi, Woods, L.
Yeah, we call him the bad guy, but he just raised his property value.
He brought a J.C. Penney's to the town, for God's sake.
Christ, J.C. Penney is coming here because of me. You ask anybody, they'll tell you.
Where else are you gonna get your Izod?
He was excellent. Like, in watching him I could watch him get throat ripped, literally on repeat.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Cue music.
Used to fuck guys like you in prison.
Welcome to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast no one asked for, with your hosts, Chris, Leaf, and Shadwick.
They might. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast that no one asked for. Today we're doing a versus Roadhouse versus Roadhouse, the original versus the new one that just came out. So this should be a pretty fun episode. Guys, how you doing on this lovely Saturday? I believe, I don't know if you guys saw last night, but I guess there were some northern lights in our area outside, which I just found out was not a suplex in wrestling. That's what I thought a northern lights was.
Yeah, but, did anybody have like a heads up on that? Because I didn't know anything about it until everybody and their fucking mother was posting stuff on Facebook.
Yeah,
like, oh my God, the light!
Oh my God, it's Russell Crowe!
Yeah, Julie kind of knew about it. We were like hanging on the porch last night, and so we actually missed it. I did see Elon Musk's Starlink go by last night, so that was kind of fucking weird. I don't know if you guys have had the experience of seeing that at night yet.
No.
Yeah, it's like
it's
it
really
looks
weird.
like a fucking caterpillar from one of the old '80s arcade games, like Galaga or some shit, just like going by. It's
Does it look
weird.
like that caterpillar spaceship from the Avengers that Hulk punches?
It looks like the caterpillar
From far
from
away.
Pixels. It looks like from Pixels. That's what it looks like. But
I had an app a new weather app that I just downloaded, and it actually gave me a heads up like that morning. Like when I got up, I was like, "What in the hell is geomagnetic like thunderstorm? Like what the hell is going on?"
So we were talking about it last night when everybody was posting their shit on Facebook, and we're like, "What actually causes it?" And I looked it up, and of course, I was a little inebriated when I was reading it, but my understanding was basically kind of like a solar flare. Like the magnetic energy from the sun, like sends like I don't know, ionized particles across the universe
that
to
sounds
us,
like
and then
science talk,
and then it interacts with the Earth's magnetic field.
I mean, you have to be smart. You have to be really smart. You have to use your brain. You know? I have to use my brain.
And so
Magnets.
that's where you get all the lights or whatever. But isn't that kind of fucking scary that it's from a solar flare?
Yeah, you know,
and it's even more scary that have we ever seen it here before?
I don't know.
We have actually. So like the last time this happened, it was called like the Carrington event, is believe it or not, and it was way more powerful than one we got
Because of
just
Nancy?
recently.
Hey, Nancy Kerrigan.
No,
Nancy Carrington?
no, not Nancy Carrington.
Like
Carrington.
Michael Carrington from Grease 2.
Yeah,
No, it was like
we just can't finish a fucking story.
it doesn't fucking matter. You know what?
It doesn't matter,
I
guys.
tried-
Guess what? Yeah, fuck it. Let's go over.
Nobody's listening anyway. The hell with it.
Yeah, to hell with it. To hell with it. That's just going to take us over to.
Get out of the street, you fucking
Good Saturday morning.
Yeah, I can't wait till we start having guests on the show and I forget that little tag's at the end of it and they'll be like, oh, cool, a little booze of the week. And then it's, get out of the street, you fucking bum.
You fucking bum.
If I could have a moment of silence for just a second.
Oh, there it is. So I am channeling my inner Michael Scott today with some Red Stripe beer. Everything is Irie, and if you catch me later on in the day, I'll just be in the corner with steel drums being like,
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
just over and over again, just playing the same note.
Boring. Call me when she rolls over.
Leaf, what do you got there, brother?
I'm drinking some I'm channeling my inner hippie, drinking some Goatopia, man.
Oh,
look at that
nice.
one.
A little pagan action.
Kind of getting
say prayers tonight.
The nighttime is the right time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm channeling my gotta go out and mow the grass after this.
Oh.
The Sam
rocker.
The porch rocker, taking it back.
It's cool. I'm taking it back.
And as a backup in case this runs long.
Oh, dude, yeah, you've got all the summer stuff going.
I did.
Yeah, you
That's
were
what
ready,
happens when
dude.
That's what I appreciate about you.
That's probably the best money out of the $500 I spent at Costco last weekend.
Jesus Christ, yeah, it's a bad one.
God, I wish that.
Costco looks at you when you walk in and they're like,
I bet that tastes good.
and they're right, it does
Just
taste
rubbing
good.
their hands together.
Also, shout out to John T that I work with, who stumbled upon the original clip of that and was like, "What did you do to this poor gorilla?" He was like, "This is such an innocent, family-friendly commercial."
It's not.
It still is.
It's
It
not
still
Lois.
is. We don't know what he says. It's just beeped
Hey.
out, man. Look, man.
We all know what this
It's
is.
pretty
that
fucking
thing
funny.
If anybody's seen the original clip, we had the same reaction when we saw it too.
Yeah.
It's still funny.
It's still
to this
funny.
very day.
So, well, all right, man. We now that we're fueled up, let's go ahead and get into our topic because this is going to be the first of many that we're doing this. We're going to start because Hollywood is super original and has tons of ideas. So all they do is remake shit all the time now. So it's time for us to compare and contrast. For this one, man. I mean, you've got what 35 years in between these flicks when they were made. Not sure when the original Roadhouse, which we covered in great detail. Be sure to like, subscribe, and go back and listen to our Roadhouse episode because it had some pretty good gems in there.
The link is right here.
Yeah,
It's here.
I don't
Somewhere.
know. I'm sure we'll get flagged for some election shit or something when I put a link in here somehow. Thanks, YouTube.
Well, will YouTube let us play just the music from The Doors' Roadhouse Blues?
I mean, I'll do it. I mean, what are they going to do? At this point in time, what are they going to do? Cancel us?
No lyrics, just the music at least.
Yeah, man. We'll throw that in there. So, how do you want to start this off, there, Leaf?
So in my opinion, this is a versus battle.
I think what Chadwick wanted to do. We're still kicking around ideas for the name, but I think it was a history present of versus, which would be HPV as our segment.
So do you say Arizona State University, or do you just say HPVU?
Yep.
That's
and I've got to work. I've got to work on the logo for it, but I'm leaning towards the MTV logo, except it will be HPV.
HPV. I don't call this segment HPV, dude.
And T-shirts will be available.
Yeah. Get your HPV T-shirts from Beacon. Let's Rewind.
Don't put my face on that.
Don't forget to pick what color you want the H to be.
Yeah, we'll let you customize it. You know,
we're gonna do the old Roadhouse first, which I'm gonna be like here for after gonna call Roadhouse 89 instead of, and then versus Roadhouse 24. So 2024 was when this the last, I guess, the remake is done. And so what we can do is let's just roll through and these different segments. Like I have the synopsis.
Do a brief synopsis of the first one, and I think that we can just from memory update the brief synopsis to the second one. It's pretty similar.
Before we do that, though, I want to do the actors in each. So we'll do 80 like Roadhouse 89 first, and then we'll do versus the Roadhouse 24 versus. We got the cast. Let's start out with the cast, like the most important, basically part of each of these Roadhouses,
and let's just do a comparison from star to star, what we liked, what we didn't like, and let's just go forward. So, Lee, if you want to start, I guess with Mr. Patrick Swayze, right?
Man, the lead star of Roadhouse 89, Patrick Swayze, the legend, the myth, the pirouetting, roundhouse
favorite tricks he's ever seen in a movie.
I would like to borrow something from your brother, Leaf.
Mm-hmm.
Meh.
Well, he doesn't watch this. It's all.
It's fine. Yeah,
but he would agree. He would agree. Yeah, Patrick's evidently is not Shadwick's favorite, but again, a legend, has had a extremely powerful.
He was box office, man. No matter what he
film
did,
career,
and like the physique in '89 to what the physique is now is different. That slender look was in back then.
Like no fat, not a lot of muscle either, just trim and like ripped. I mean,
just like fast forward to 2024, Jake Gyllenhaal is playing Dalton, and he doesn't have any muscle either.
Yeah. Not nary one.
Jesus Christ,
nary one. Right?
Fucking slabs of thick muscle in his abs.
So Jake Gyllenhaal is also plays Dalton, but he's Elwood Dalton, because he's the fucking character from Legally Blonde.
Hi, Woods, L.
That's her illegitimate brother.
That makes sense. So
murderer and MMA fighter.
Which we're big fans of. What was it, Southpaw? I think we saw in theaters together.
Dude.
Such a great movie.
I'm a much bigger fan of Jake Gyllenhaal than Patrick Swayze.
I think I am too.
I mean, even just from an acting standpoint, I think he's a better actor.
I think so too. I think that in this movie, Jake Gyllenhaal with the MMA background, that makes a lot of sense in today's world with the MMA backstory. I think that was good. Like, I liked how they updated that story. Like Patrick Swayze, I mean, it was, Roadhouse, the original one, is basically like a half-ass Western, he's
for all intents and purposes,
Yeah, he's Patrick Swayze's character. He was billed as a cooler. Like, his world was working in bars, and you never really got a backstory on like how he learned to fight, other than
Memphis shit.
Than Sam Elliott.
Yeah,
was kind of like a mentor to him, I guess.
Yeah, well, Patrick Swayze was he was like from the streets, like that was sort of his like. And I think that the second movie sort of went another direction with the main character in Jake Gyllenhaal, because they didn't. The plot makes some different choices. In the script, they don't go the same way. It didn't really matter in the original.
But if you're going to be
Roadhouse,
if you're going to be an MMA fighter, at least like have your body look like an MMA fighter. I mean,
at least he could have done some fucking something. Jesus, do a push up or a crunch.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. He looked exact. His build looks like fucking George St. Pierre is what he looked like.
Well, so they were ready to film this. And he got into that like incredible shape, and the first scene that they were going to film was at an actual UFC event. And the day before that event, Gyllenhaal tested positive for COVID. So
Jesus.
So they could not film that scene for another 4 months until the UFC had another event at whatever location it was. Mm-hmm. So he talked about like how hard it was. He had to stay in that shape for 4 months.
Well, I mean, when you did your bodybuilding, like actors do the same thing too, where they're like, on this day I need to be peak. Yeah. So diet, exercise is all working towards that day, and then
and then you dehydrate like a son of a bitch. So
true.
So yeah, that sucks for him, but I'm glad you did it because it looked awesome. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, they did film his UFC bits that are in the movie. They filmed in front of a live UFC audience.
That's fucking awesome. You could tell
before the actual fight started.
Yeah, you could tell like when they did those shots and everything, like that was done really well, and it wasn't
on
faked.
the internet. There was like a whole bunch of like memes of him. Like I saw a ton of memes about Jake Gyllenhaal because obviously he was at that UFC event filming for this movie, and people would be like, Jake Gyllenhaal's actually like like joining the MMA. And I saw some memes that were like, if you don't know this MMA fighter, you don't even know anything about the UFC. And it was just pictures of him just shredded in them gloves.
Just gonna throw this out there, guys. If it's on TikTok, it's probably wrong, Matt.
So going forward, the second character we gotta talk about, and there's no comparison in Roadhouse 24, is Sam Elliott's character Wade Garrett. For me, made the original
100%.
film.
Yeah,
dude.
Damn, it hurts on it.
Yeah, and it's like one of those. He's so fucking cool. The kind of the father son, big brother, little brother story. It was great. Like Shadwick's talked about before, in the old one, it's kind of like, his time's over as a bouncer. It's like coming to a close, and
because he was at the ripe old age of 44.
You
obviously can't do anything physically after 44.
After 44, you're pretty much done. So.
You might as well just be stabbed to death.
Yeah, I mean, in an alley.
It was Tails.
It was Tails.
Oh no!
But I mean, you got emotionally connected to his character. When he gets killed in the original, it sucks. And then no policemen are called, and you go straight to revenge mode. So
it's the way it happens, man. It's the way that it happens, and that at least they preserved some of that in the new film. But Wade Garrett, the character, is like the brother or best friend of James Dalton, Patrick Swayze's character, and their whole dynamic just runs through the entire film, and actually is what sparks the final scene, as Chris and Shadwick already mentioned, where he goes on his murderous revengeful rampage. And you feel it, man. You feel it because they did such a good job. Like when Sam Elliott's character dies, it's like you're like, kill them all.
Which was just a weird omission in this one. Like
strange
in 2024. So
I agreed, 100% agree. Like it's
because I mean that character is universally loved from all the fans of the old movie. But
I think that maybe it's a conscious choice that they were trying to make Gyllenhaal's character a little more in solitude.
Yeah,
because
he lone wolf.
He was beating himself up over. We'll find out later, but. His past. He never forgives himself for what he's done, so he kind of goes into solitude and doesn't really try to connect with people.
Yeah. You're right. They do try to. The other characters do try to reach out to him constantly. Sort of, they kind of are the initiators of all the contact. So I agree 100% with Shadwick there. It was. But honestly, I think that it's a. And I'll talk about it obviously, in our final verdicts. But like it hurts the film in my opinion because it's just he's not a very approachable character as much.
Yeah,
because you don't ever get to see. You don't get to see him kind of open up, man. Like when Patrick Swayze loses his like best friend and mentor, man, like he's like torn up about it. It hurts you to see it.
I think that's one of the shortcomings of this movie. I've watched it twice now, and I kind of go back and forth, but. The first movie had you got more invested with the townspeople.
Yeah.
So I think 100%. Probably the next character we're going to talk about is just Red. I think the guy that rented the loft to Patrick Swayze, right?
Yeah. Yes. So in Roadhouse 89, he meets when he finally takes the job at the Roadhouse. He meets a character named Red.
Deuce.
At the Double Deuce, excuse me. Yes. Yeah. And he's meets this cantankerous guy that's going to be putting him up at this like awesome looking farmhouse.
Yeah.
And
conveniently across the street from the bad guys.
Conveniently, literally across the lake from the rich guy. Where you can see him having orgies and partying.
Christ, J.C. Penney is coming here because of me. You ask anybody, they'll tell you.
With cocaine and just living it up.
Well, that's good.
But he, we call him the bad guy. But can you imagine how much Red's property was worth after that dude built that mansion across the lake from him?
Oh, man.
He just raised his property value.
He brought a J.C. Penney's to the town, for God's sake.
A J.C.
Ask anybody.
Ask anyone, man. That shit doesn't happen without him. So, I mean, Jesus. And those are timeless. Those will never go out of style.
Where else are you going to get your Izod?
Yeah.
Red
What the fuck?
Red ends up being James Dalton's sort of just friend. He doesn't have a lot of lines and a lot of scenes, but you immediately like him. He's just this cantankerous old man.
Yeah.
It's just like has some good one-liners, and he's a really important plot device because when the rich asshole burns down, explodes his house. I don't know what the fuck nitroglycerin. Why does his house explode? But he burns it down.
Then he has that ridiculous cartoonish laugh as he's.
Oh yeah. Skeletor laugh.
Yeah. I think that ended his acting career.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But then he could go back to prison to fuck dudes.
So, well, he did used to fuck guys like that in prison.
In prison, yeah.
So compare him to the guy in the new Roadhouse, which I don't even remember his name because that's how small that role is. The guy that I guess he runs the marina where the houseboat is.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So here's something that would have made this movie exponentially better for me is if you give that guy a little bigger part, and you remember. They're talking about there's a crocodile in the area, and it ate his little dog.
Yeah,
right?
his little dog.
So here's what makes this movie so much better. If you cast Sam Elliott as that man,
there you go,
and the dog is named Miho.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Oh my God, that would have been so sick, dude.
But like,
I mean, even if you don't make the part bigger, just have Sam Elliott in there. And
that's why I didn't understand. I didn't understand why he wasn't here at all. Like, just even a little.
Well, you know, we talked about in our Roadhouse episode that after the movie was finished, Sam Elliott was not pleased with it.
Oh, that's true, because they cut out a bunch of scenes, you know, that built on that him and Dalton's relationship. But yeah, you're right. So I mean, you basically have nothing to compare to in this. So I definitely like Red way better in the original one than whatever character it would be in this one.
He looked just like some like busted ass like native Creole dude with long hair, like some meth head. I don't even know like what that character was supposed to be.
He lost his dog, and I hate that.
Yeah, it was. I think he was there for like comic relief in a lot of ways. Like, like after the dude gets eaten by the alligator, it's just like, well, I told them cops that they ate my dog. It's like, what do we do?
His dog's name was Chauncey.
Yeah,
Chauncey.
Wasn't that the only part that the alligator was in too? Like, wasn't it done after that? I thought it was like gonna have like a hook, you know, like a Peter Pan callback, like it was gonna come back at the end.
You thought, I thought all crocodiles ticked
because of Peter Pan. Yeah, I mean, you knew when they're around.
It just eats Dale for no reason, and that's it.
For no reason. He was the greatest.
Next, we got to talk about the love interest. We got, or the lack thereof, I suppose.
No shit, right?
Yeah. All right. So original Roadhouse 89. We got Dr. Elizabeth Clay, played by Kelly Lynch, where after Patrick Swayze is he gets shanked, right? He gets stabbed.
Yeah.
Too. Okay. Yeah.
So, slice, I think.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze gets.
Oh, he gets cut. Okay. Yeah. And has to go get sutured up. He meets. Just
and he has his medical records in a fucking manila folder.
and we learned that something that I know we've all lived by is pain don't hurt.
pain don't hurt.
And don't hurt.
And no one wins a fight.
Yeah.
But
which they actually did throw that line in here.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But what does hurt is fucking how hot Kelly Lynch was in as the Dr. Elizabeth K. That's painful to this very day.
With
she
the
is
glasses, man. She's one of those with the glasses, please.
You know where it hurts.
Those rocking tits. She's shabby. No.
It causes some swelling.
Yeah, it does cause some swelling.
The versus the Roadhouse 84. I guess Ellie
2024. Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, 2024.
Which
Ellie,
she was a rat catcher, right? In Suicide Squad.
I don't know.
She really,
she's
I don't remember that.
She's as forgettable in both roles.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they went this route with this with the love interest, because it really was. There wasn't much love interest.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like he could give a shit less about like connecting with anybody.
Yeah, and they have that little date where they fade to black, and I believe James Franco, if I can put the clip in here, he's talked about that. And
you don't have a bunch of dudes going at it, and then right before they finish, you cut to black and say, "Oh, don't worry, 12 hours later they came all over each other." No, you want them all over, close up. All over his face. The end.
Which really brings up the lack of nudity in the remake.
Yes.
I mean, we got to see Kelly Lynch's rocking tits,
tits,
in a gratuitous sex scene.
Yeah, we got to see the guy filling up the chick at the table in the bar.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, I forgot. Chadwick and literally
$20. Yeah.
And then you had Brad Wesley's blonde hot squeeze that went in there and did a little strip tease, and then you had one of the shitty bouncers nailing old girl, making her making her his regular Saturday night thing.
Yeah.
Slam piece.
Yeah, slam piece on Saturday night.
And that's that's where we got the Shaddy No.
Yeah, that is where we got Shaddy No. So real full circle moment. Yeah, so
full circle jerk moment.
All we got. I think you got Patrick Swayze's ass in this one too, didn't you? Yeah.
So I think we was thrusting.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it was a little something for everybody. And
he had Doc up against the wall in the loft, and apparently they did want Jake Gyllenhaal to have a little butt scene. Like there was a similar scene in each movie where the waitress from the bar comes and wakes him up.
Yeah. And
then the first one, Patrick Swayze was laying there with his ass up. Mm-hmm. And they did want Jake Gyllenhaal to do something similar to that, and he's just not for it at all.
He was like, there was no way.
So they're like, well, who could we get to show their ass? And then
metaphorically and
then what happened was apparently they approached Conor McGregor to be the main physical threat in the movie, and he says, I'll do your fucking movie, but you got to show at least 5 seconds of my arse.
Yeah. I saw Conor McGregor when he was hyping up the Floyd Mayweather fight flex his dick at Mayweather and one of the weigh-ins. Like he actually flexed his dick. It moved, and everyone saw it, and no one talked about it.
And it happened. It happened, America. It looked straight out of That's My Boy when it was like
Donnie. So you get an uncomfortable amount of Conor McGregor's ass in this, and then he bends over to pick something up. So I looked away like
asshole.
It got me, man. Like
he said, I can't remember where I heard this interview, but he said that when he found out that he was going to be doing that, he threw some extra plates on the squat rack.
You got to make it look good, man. He already walks like it looked. I mean, he was jacked in this movie.
Oh, well, he was juiced as fuck, dude. You can see it.
He was on the rehab.
So for anybody that doesn't know, in Conor McGregor's last professional UFC fight, he broke his leg, like fucking broke it in half.
Elled it.
So
yeah.
So
it was awful.
So he's been rehabbing for a couple years now, I guess. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And during rehab, he really hit the sauce, and he put on a ton of weight. Mm-hmm. And you can see it. You can see it in his face. Like he's got like really full, shiny cheeks.
Yep.
And I'm assuming that big beard was part of the camouflage for that. But
it was.
It didn't work.
Yeah, you could. Because McGregor's what, like 5'10"? Like he's not like a massive dude, but he. Anyway, that was the nudity we got in this a couple times, right? McGregor.
Y'all transitioned perfectly, so we're already on it, man. They doubled down. on the man ass in this. Conor McGregor has played. He plays a character named Knox, and like he's basically does the fucking Conor McGregor swag. He walks like that in every scene, and I was crying laughing every time he was on scene. And I'm not gonna lie, I heard some not good things about this movie before I watched it. I laughed the entire fucking time.
I think
Conor McGregor was hilarious.
I think you just got to take it with a grain of salt, right?
I think they should have just told McGregor to be himself. They probably gave him direction of like we want this to be kind of a
my direction would be what you do with UFC do that now.
Yeah, so if anyone gave him direction that we want it to be like an over the top asshole, they kind of missed the shot on that one because he could have just walked in and done some like fight promotion.
I would have just let him fucking ad lib. I know that they wanted to do, and maybe it's an homage to 80s movies, like the little one-liners. And he had a lot of one-liners. He is the one that does. I think we focused on it quite a bit in our old Roadhouse episode. The "Be Nice." Only reference to that is when he's fighting at the end, and he shoves up and he's like, "Be nice" or whatever. So they fed him a bunch, but to Shadwick's point, if you just let that motherfucker give him a mic and let him go. I think it would have been. It does seem a little forced and shit here, but I mean, dude, you're asking a UFC fighter to fucking go hold up a Hollywood film.
It just I don't know, kind of. He's always got that big smile on his face, and he is like walking with his arms out more, like it reminds you like a little kid, like trying to be big.
Puff his chest out.
He's puffish. It's funny. I thought it was funny.
Same here.
But the whole time,
the character itself was the actual he's just a wild card alcoholic, like no rules. Like that was great. Like that, setting it up. I just like to Shadwick's point. So who was the original bad guy? Who was the guy that fucked guys in prison?
Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Jimmy.
And so if we're going on who we like better, like the bar was already pretty low with Jimmy. We've talked about his acting chops as well. So I'm going to lean Conor in this one, but I'm also a big Conor fan. I fucking like the train wreck that is Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Definitely probably would not want to hang out with him because he would fucking kill me if he decided to. So, probably keep away from him, but I enjoy him and I will always buy his fights.
Jimmy was also supposed to be a psychopath, but if you watch both films, they're just very, 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 very different. Like Jimmy's the one who ends up like trying to burn the like Red's place down and doing all like of the rich guys' dirty work, and he's also like an accomplished ex-military. I'm pretty sure.
Right? He also had that sweet sleeveless button-up denim shirt.
Oh gosh,
shit was
if
so
anything
classic,
fucks,
dude.
it's that.
yeah, dude. He was excellent. Like in watching him I could watch him get throat ripped literally on repeat 24/7. With Conor McGregor, we kind of got like, does he even have a backstory of where he was from? I missed that. I think you don't
get a backstory. You just know that he's working for the dude's dad. So the Wesley character, which I guess we'll probably get to next, but is working for his dad. So his dad is in prison. Maybe he's carrying out what the old Jimmy was doing in prison. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in there.
See, that would have been another good thing too. Did it ever show the dad?
No.
So that could have been another big cameo. Like it could have been one of
Patrick Swayze's ghost.
Could have been the big fat dude that the polar bear fell on.
Oh no, not him, dude. Is he still
polar
alive?
Bear fell on me.
Polar bear fell on me. Yeah. So let's just wrap it up with the which one do you guys prefer?
Which bad guy?
Yeah.
Conor.
Leaf.
I'm gonna give it to Conor McGregor. He was way more entertaining to watch. His scenes, I think, were more well done. The other guy was just sort of a useful idiot. And watching him get throat ripped again, extremely entertaining for yours truly.
Yeah.
But like overall, Conor's performances were way more entertaining and fun to watch. And he did, in my opinion, he did an excellent job and what he was supposed to do. Like you guys said, he was just used like a loose cannon. He was out.
Right.
So
I think I'd go with Connor.
Yeah. So all right. So let's go over to Wesley's character, and I can't even remember what the guy's name is, like Brant or something like that.
Yeah.
In the new one.
In the new one, Ben Brandt is his name.
There you go.
And he is the son.
And what's the actor's name?
Billy Magnuson.
So the only other thing I know him from is Game Night with Jason Bateman. He was the guy that only dated models that were.
Yes.
Now, as far as a bad guy and a punchable face, Jesus Christ! Like this guy, great job in this movie.
And
he was excellent.
One thing I can definitely relate to with him is I only get shaved by other men with a straight razor while on a boat in choppy water.
That scene made me so fucking uncomfortable.
I was like, why?
That's another one, too.
It made me uncomfortable because how absurd it was.
Well,
you got to keep your wrist loose, Chadwick. He told you
to keep
That's the key.
I said it 3 times. That's another one I'll do an alternate ending on. Like when he first gets cut, I'm just going to have a shot of blood squirting on the wall and then the credits roll.
Do the Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah,
I was also waiting for him to get his throat cut in that.
But maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe that's like a nod to kids that grow up rich, like how disconnected they are from reality. Like
that's what I thought it was. That's what I took it as. Is like I thought it was funny because it's like you can't fucking shave somebody like on a rocky boat like that, no matter how limp your wrist is.
But,
right.
But like most of the scenes are kind of like that, where he's just a over the top douchebag.
Yeah.
But when there's one scene where he sits down with Dalton in the bar and talks, and he's actually he's a good fucking actor.
Yeah,
like,
he's a really good fucking actor. Like I noticed that too. Like where he sits down and just his little, if the conversation felt real and natural, like he just did a great job. So Wesley was played by.
Brad Wesley was played by Ben Gazzara, a consummate Italian mobster, probably, allegedly. And just an absolute like accredited actor.
So I feared Wesley more than I feared Brant, but I think that was probably by design. But Wesley was I mean, like, what's the greatest thing about a villain is like when they believe the shit that they're spewing and makes him that much dangerous, because he was saving the town. Everything he was doing he thought was for the right and for good, which makes a good villain. He brought the J.C. Penney's, for God's sakes.
He brought the J.C. Penney's.
I can't get over it. I mean,
dude, what more do you ungrateful cretins want? And I think that
World War II.
The real difference between the characters, and Chris sort of touched on it, is that Brad Wesley is like the owner of that town. He wants control of the town in Roadhouse 89. He wants the power, and just he wants to run the show. Like that is his town. He brought the J.C. Penney's, and
it's very like old school mob. Like he's
for sure,
he's hitting everybody up for protection money, basically.
Right.
Protection
Italian.
from himself, because if they don't pay, he's going to run a monster truck through their dealership.
I mean, every bad guy should have a monster truck in stock. That should be.
You got to have $1 million lying around.
That's the only reason I'm not a villain in real life.
Chadwick hasn't won the lottery.
I don't have a monster truck yet.
Once the lottery hits,
not yet.
Though, Chadwick's ready, man. Well, versus like the guy that's basically like the rich son, right?
His father's in prison and he's built this empire, and his son's sort of like running it while he's in jail. And the character,
it's drugs and guns, right?
Basically, for all intents and purposes, but it's also property ownership too. It looks like at the beginning he has like a building, like plans for a building, and that's the reason he wants the Roadhouse. Whether so he can, so that he could take over and sort of. Like it's almost like he's trying to prove like he's worthy of his father. He's living in the shadow of his father, trying to do, and he's real weaselly and just weak-willed.
And he doesn't want his father's help. He wants to prove that he can do it.
Yeah,
he's very callow.
Shallow.
I mean, it's shallow and weak-willed.
Weak-willed. I
thought that was the only part that was complimentary.
Yeah. In the original, Brad Wesley is just he's a boss. Like, he's not going to take any shit. You are scared of him as a villain because he will kill and murder and do whatever it takes to get rid of specifically
what he
Patrick
views
Swayze.
what he views as a threat to his empire.
Yes,
right?
And that's a big difference because in the sort of Jake Gyllenhaal in Roadhouse 2024 was sort of in the way of them getting that Roadhouse. Like, they were after the Roadhouse, whereas Ben was like trying to get rid of Patrick Swayze specifically.
Yes, exactly.
He wanted him out.
Yeah, so Brant had already bought up all the property along that coast except for the Roadhouse that girl was holding out. So he had this big resort planned, and she was fucking up the whole thing.
Yes.
Can't really blame him, but
yeah.
He needs another resort in Key West, am I right?
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
All right. One thing you're not going to find in Key West is a JCPenney.
Dude, sign me up.
Well, so I know we're talking about characters, but I think the location probably is a character.
Yes.
So in the original, they're in Podunk, Missouri.
Yeah, in the Midwest. Like,
yeah, who the fuck wants to go to Missouri?
At the Double Deuce,
the
man.
Double Deuce, man.
The Double Douche.
But this, if we had to pick on location, I'm going with the Keys all the time.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they said they don't call it the Keys for nothing or something like that. And I was like, wait, what the fuck does that mean? What do you mean? Like, that's why they call it the Keys. And I was like,
my fucking Chrysler LeBaron, my Dodge Stratus.
Like, I don't understand. Like, what do you mean? That's why they call it the Key? Is that a cocaine reference, or is that a
oh, maybe
like a kilo, like a key? I don't fucking know.
Oh, maybe that was it.
Maybe we should do drugs. I don't know. We should start doing drugs.
You know what? I think that's a good call.
We haven't missed that. It's not too late.
So if I'm voting on location, I like the Florida location.
Well, yeah, because the chick that owns the bar, whatever her name is, she's also
she's Frankie. Like, yeah, she.
Oh yeah,
it's a
Frankie, whatever.
That's kind of a nod too, and we'll get to that. But like,
but she goes out and recruits Dalton wherever he's at, and I think it's a lot more plausible that you might accept a job that you don't really want if you're moving
Florida.
To the Keys.
Yeah, $5,000 a fucking week too.
And
20 total for 1 month.
Did you guys notice? Yeah, didn't she just hire him for a month? Like, she just wanted him to come in.
She told him 20. Yeah, I actually rewound that because I wanted to know how much she was actually offering. Because it's we were trying to figure it out in the original Roadhouse. We were like pulling the inflation calculator, trying to figure out how much he was getting paid. Yeah, she offered him $5,000 a week, and if he stayed for a whole month, he's at $20K.
Right.
So it was like that was a lot of money.
So that was kind of a difference too, because I don't know if Patrick Swayze's character, he wasn't put on like a time frame.
No,
he was just brought in so he could have like set up roots,
right,
or put down roots, whatever.
Clean up the town or clean up that area or that and the bar
and stay there and bone Dr. Lady
against a wall.
That was a bonus, dude. The old Dr. Slam piece.
So Dr. Slam piece. So I think I like this is one of the things in the original. There's actually several things in the original or in the new one that I did like. This was one of them. The location change was needed and made sense to the actual plot of, hey, they're wanting to set up a resort because then you'll have an ass load of money and whatever. So I get it. Right. You know, rich people buying up poor people's property.
Yeah.
So one thing that I didn't like as much on the new one is when Patrick Swayze went into the Double Deuce, there were already several bouncers and the bartender and everything, all the staff, and there was some corruption from within the place that he rooted out. But then he acted kind of as a mentor to these other people, and there was a little bit of a character arc with them.
Yeah.
In this one, there's just the one other young
that knows
one
him
dude,
from like UFC
and there's
or
one little conversation where there's a guy with a knife and
step back and
he's like, just step back and punch him. I'm like
it goes back to the character being more reserved in this one. I guess it's whatever character choice that they went on that, but I like my character to have some depth. So
Patrick Swayze. Didn't he say that he had a degree in psychology? Right. So there's nothing, and he puts that on display where he's talking about being nice.
Yeah.
Try to resolve things peacefully. Get them to go outside. He's like teaching all the other bouncers to do that kind of stuff. It's not really so much the case in the new one.
No.
Right.
In the new one, Jake Gyllenhaal is just a UFC. He's just a fighter.
Right.
An accidental murderer, like I guess you could say.
I would have liked to have known just something that tells his background as far as his education. Like maybe he was like a strategist or something.
Right.
Because at the end, like we'll get to it, but there's a turning point where he goes in revenge mode, and he sets up this kind of elaborate setup to take down this whole empire. Where's that come from? Like,
yeah, just pull it out of his ass.
Which punch in the head made you think of that?
Yeah.
That's true. There is a really clever moment with Jake Gyllenhaal, so I'll give him just a tiny bit of credit because obviously, Patrick Swayze's Dalton was a more intelligent-minded character, but I really liked in the beginning, and they tried to show it off a little bit when he was trying to get the bullies to come outside the gang at the very beginning.
Is that your motorcycles out there?
Yeah, he asked them if that's their bikes outside, and then just walks outside.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Well, you're not gonna." Obviously, they're like, "You're not gonna mess with my bike." So he was like, "I know, I was trying to get you out here, outside," which I thought was like that was really clever. I was like, "Okay,
I like that."
So they gave him a shout out. So the guy had a mind on him, but it wasn't like Patrick Swayze's character, who was more of like a teacher and mentor in his own right. And you got the idea, or I did in the original Roadhouse, that Patrick Swayze didn't want to be there. Obviously, it was a shithole in the middle of America. Right. He was like setting up, he was getting his money while he could. He was setting up the legacy of the bouncers there to kind of take care of the place because they didn't know what they were doing. And then obviously he was going to bail, was like his original plan.
Yeah.
And with Jake Gyllenhaal's character, again, he's just such a loner, and you don't know really what any of his motivations are besides money. That's really
right.
It.
And Patrick Swayze's character was more assertive, I guess. Gyllenhaal, which is nothing wrong with that. I like the character, but his personality is kind of laid back, and he talks without there's an absence of bass in his voice when he's talking. It's kind of like he's always just, trying to be the nice guy. Like, hey, can we go outside?
Yeah.
Or you sure you want to do this?
He smiles a lot too.
He smiles.
Patrick Swayze
They actually even call him Mr. Smiley. That guy calls him that in the very beginning. But that actually reminds me of a shit stuck in my head this week.
These camps don't sound fun at all.
Well, Chris, camp is only as fun as you make it. That's how it was in World War II.
Don't suppose it would help to say I have a note from my doctor.
Get in there, you.
That shit was aired on network television.
What about that one Christmas when the guards at those camps told the guys, like, you know what, it's Christmas, so we're going to let you all go. And then one guy in the back stands up and he goes, but we don't celebrate Christmas. And then everybody else is like,
damn it. You. All right, so which character do we have next? I guess the bar owner.
That's basically it, right?
The
main characters. I mean, we could go through each and every one, but I think that's honestly, I think that's perfect.
Well, we do have.
Unless you want to mention,
I want to mention the bar
honorable mentions.
The bar owner, though, because the bar owner's a bigger part in this movie,
right?
Than in the previous one. He's kind of a background, not really a whole lot going on in the original Roadhouse. She's kind of driving the plot, and I kept waiting for like this hook in the back end of why she's doing what she's doing. And it's
supposed to be a mystery.
I just never got it. So,
yeah, as with most women, it's hard to get a hook in the back end.
They mention it. I just watched it. So they did mention it. Like she has a conversation with not Patrick Swayze, but Jake Gyllenhaal, where her uncle had like built the place.
Yeah.
And she was taking, so it was like, it had sentimental value. And you always wonder, they kind of try to make you think that there's a deeper reason why.
And that's what, like, I kept waiting for that to come back around.
that never really happens. You find at the very end, she's like, all right, fucking Sherlock, you got me. The reason I don't want to like sell is because like I'm the last holdout. It's like, why would you keep that secret though?
Yeah.
Like, I did not like her character at all. She was annoying.
In the original, what was the character's name that owned the hardware store?
I thought that was Red. Was that not Red? No, it was
it was Dr. Slampiece's uncle or something.
Or yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, so
Hank? Can't remember who the hell it was.
So they kind of have a parallel to that with the bookstore owners.
Yeah,
and I like he has that kind of, I don't know, like a big brother relationship with that girl.
I wanted more of that.
Yeah, so that was a good relationship, but I fucking couldn't stand that girl.
Really?
Yeah.
Her fucking Fraggle Rock hair and
I liked it because I thought it was kind of like she was just kind of out there. Like I liked the character because it basically was just kind of
no. I like the character. I didn't like the actress.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought the
it's called acting.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree with Shadwick, and I'm not exactly sure. This is so being like a voice actor myself. I can't. Let me tell you something. It's very difficult a lot of times to tell when you're given a really terrible script and when you're just a bad actor. It's very difficult for the average person. I've watched listened to a lot of voice actors. I've done a lot. Sometimes you were just given an undeliverable script that's just so bad, and that's what your job is. Your job is not to be like, well, can I do it like this? The answer is going to be no. They want you. They're the artists. You are simply hired gun. And you will do what you're supposed to do to accomplish their vision. And sometimes their vision is garbage. Right. So I don't know. I agree with Shadwick. I don't know that I would put the onus on her. It might have just been they wanted to make her this weird, like, autistic bookworm.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got.
She comes off really annoying, man. Like,
which I
really,
think was like
really
part
annoying.
of it. Like, I think that it was, to me, it came off like an annoying little sister. But like, I was waiting for that relationship to kind of build, and then you know, because they did have. When the store gets burned down, it didn't have the punch that I needed to have because there really was.
Yeah, because you didn't give a shit about anybody.
There was very little anything set up,
and he like that's the only relationship that he really had in the town. He went on like half a date with the doctor,
right?
But
they faded to black instead of watching dudes come all over each other.
Frothy ejaculate.
A river.
But no, it's like she was the only person that he tried to have any kind of relationship with.
It was like three. It was, I think what I like too, though, is like when he first got there, she like Leaf said, you know, kind of like bookworm, not super social. Gives him a book like out of the gate, like for free. And I was waiting for that book to have some sort of like be tied in at some point, much like I was ready for the crocodile to come back around on the end, like eating Captain Hook. Just like there's all these like pieces that, and to be honest, this is my problem. I think with the original, you had no fucking constraints because this was on Amazon Prime. You're not putting this in movie theaters. You don't have, hey, I've got to cut this down to 2 hours because we need 4 or 5 showings a day. You could have made this fucking thing 3 hours long.
Why could they do away with the father and daughter bit? Why couldn't they have like a smoking hot woman with the fucking big librarian glasses?
Oh man!
Why couldn't she have been the love interest? Do away with that shitty ass doctor.
Yeah,
nobody likes her.
And they split the difference too. Like
he didn't even.
You're
like
right.
her.
No, he didn't.
Nah, he didn't. And you're absolutely right because they split the difference in the end of the movie. They're like, what originally sends Jake Gyllenhaal's character on his murderous rampage is they burn down the bookstore. And the girl and the guy like go missing. Like I don't. It never shows.
They never
what
said what
them.
happened. They just like, I guess you assume.
No, they did.
No.
I thought they were kidnapped.
No,
she was in the hospital.
They took. Yeah.
Okay, I missed it.
When they burned the place down. He shows up and he asks the cops or whatever, like, what happened to the man and the woman? And he's like, the ambulance took him to the hospital.
Yeah.
Then at the very end, whatever scheme he had, he wound up with a sack full of money, right?
Yeah.
And he left it, and it shows, I think the dad
opens it.
Yeah.
Well, and also, he didn't take one strap of money for himself.
You still got to ride that
he
bus,
was there.
man.
He was there for money, and suddenly he's like the best guy on the earth.
Yeah. Did you even get your 20K?
But right, exactly. So they burned down and hospitalized those two, which is like that sets Jake Gyllenhaal off. But then they also kidnap his like
his like kind of sort of not even love interest to a girl he banged because that's all they could find.
I don't think he even banged her.
They faded to black. I assume the dudes came all over each other.
But it could have been fucking the hot librarian up against a bookcase.
Chadwick says,
what could have been?
Bring back my Cinemax. I want Blockbuster back.
Librarian.
Chadwick wants Cinemax back.
Chadwick wants Shannon Tweed casted now.
God, yes, I do.
Bring her back.
And
now,
I don't want any fading to black.
No. Thank you.
Those are the honorable mentions in the characters. They were garbage. Like I agree with you. Like in Roadhouse 2034, there's no real connection. They're kind of just there. I agree with Chris too, though. I would have been okay if they had shown maybe Jake Gyllenhaal's character get closer. Somebody needed to go. I feel like, and so Chadwick had a good solution with making the little girl disappear and having a hot librarian that Jake Gyllenhaal falls in love with. Then when you kidnap her, it means something. It's like, that's my librarian slam piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give her back.
You have the corrupt cops in here too that just seems out of fucking left field.
Give her some Vicky Vale glasses.
Oh. The name's Vicky Vale. I like Batman.
A little pencil skirt and a button-up shirt.
Yeah.
How do you do all this?
So
we'll need a moment alone, boys.
Chadwick, the rest of his Saturday's ruined. He's like, someone's going to have to mow the grass for me. I'm going to need
somebody.
So I also like.
No, I'm going to need just a minute.
I think I look back too on the original. I mean, I think I have some rose-colored glasses over here that we can kind of, nostalgia podcast. We are going to look fondly back to the original, but the original makes fucking sense.
It makes sense.
I cared about Sam Elliott's character.
Sam Elliott.
Yeah, I cared about that character because they established even with the little nuances, even with the shit they cut out, they established it. Like, that dude is like his guy. That's his big brother, like father figure, whatever you want to call it. And in this, there's nothing. There's nothing. Like, I mean, again, actor to actor, I think Jake Gyllenhaal's better. I really do. What he did in this, again, to Lee's point, the script you're given is the script you're going to do. It's not Jake Gyllenhaal's his creative freedom to be like, hey, no, we should do it this way and we should add this. Yeah. He did a great job with what he was given. I like the UFC angle and stuff, but there was so many things there that just didn't make any fucking sense. The crocodile thing makes no fucking sense. A one-off.
The bring it back around. So those were the honorable mentions for the cast, and next I thought it would be cool if we went into
the fights.
I would like to say one thing about the fights is, and this was pointed out by John T. The Post Malone fight, they used some CGI to get his fist closer.
Yeah,
and
all right. So that's what I want to talk about. They did that. They did that with all the fights.
So
did they?
Yeah,
I did notice. The only part that I noticed looked CGI was that Post Malone.
Yeah, that one looked bad.
Which who fucking knew that he was built like a beanbag?
I mean, he has a dude. He pays $100K a year to carry around a beer bong for him anytime he wants it. So
I mean,
you're gonna get what you get.
But there was
welcome to your 30s, young man.
Jesus. But yeah, there were some shaky parts there with the CGI. Even all the stuff that Gyllenhaal and McGregor did, they had someone holding pillows or pads, and then they would punch those, and then they would have the actor basically they shot everything twice. So they would have someone in place of McGregor holding a pad. Gyllenhaal would hit it, then they would film it again with Conor there, and he would just pull his punch.
Yeah, and it shows. You can see it. I agreed. I didn't know how they did it though.
I liked the way it was shot. Yeah. I like the spinning around, and especially a lot of the one the player one shot where it's the punches are coming in your living room. I like that kind of shit. But you're right, that took a lot out of this for me in the fight scenes.
Really, maybe I'm in the minority, but I enjoyed it. I thought it made it look more real, like they were.
I was talking about the Post Malone scene.
Oh yeah, Post Malone was terrible.
The normal ones, yes, I enjoyed the normal ones.
Agreed.
The normal ones were good. Like
before I knew that it was CGI, the first time we watched it, that final scene where McGregor and Gyllenhaal are fighting in the bar, I told Christy, I was like, man, those poor fucking stunt dudes are somebody's really hitting that ground.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh yeah.
It was, the whole thing was like, concrete pavers,
dude.
or whatever. And it's like,
yeah,
fuck, those poor guys are really hitting that ground like that. Somebody's doing it. No, it was
really?
CGI. Yeah, they had pads down.
Wow.
All right then.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
I did not pick that
So
up.
that's
Good on them.
That
on
was
that
a lot.
CGI. Wow.
I agree. The Post Malone was ass, and it was noticeable. Like, but throughout, I agree. The rest of the other fight scenes I thought were good. So I thought it was like half and half. So I'm just now learning that.
There was one other CGI part that I really liked, and I think you can probably tell it's CGI. But the part where he's walking down the highway and the guy comes in the truck.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where he dives out of the way, and then the guy is backing up towards him, and it kind of scoops him up into the bed of the truck.
Yeah,
and runs off the bridge. That looked fucking cool.
Yeah, dude. The action scenes in this, I make the comparison because I swore to God I was like, this has to be the same crew as The Rock's Baywatch because it had that vibe. And so, like, I don't think it was it?
Oh, was it not?
Either way,
the director did something. Was it Swingers?
Yes, he did Swingers. I did see that on his little IMDb.
Yeah,
you're so money, man.
And there were some
you're
good
so money.
There were good yeah, there was some good comedy in this too. Like,
there was the little
small stuff.
That guy that was one of the henchmen that was kind of the comic relief of them that he broke his arm or whatever. That dude was really fucking funny. Like you said, little one-liners and stuff through here that was really good.
Dalton straight whips everybody's ass in that first scene in the parking lot, and then he's driving them to the hospital.
Yeah, it cuts. It does that like quick cut where he's
I laughed,
and he does the little bump.
Yep.
Yeah, it was so funny, and then he's like telling the nurse like what was all wrong with him because what he broke on dude's he broke guy's arm, gave another guy a concussion. This shit was really funny. So the setting, it's important to mention for those who haven't seen it. Obviously, Roadhouse '89 was made in 1989, and it looks and films like a 1989 movie. It is a classic 80s romp, and so you've got the practical effects. So y'all talked about the fight scenes in Roadhouse 2024, but let's go back to 1989 where we have
forget former
Terry Funk.
WWE Hall of Famer Terry Funk in there.
Yeah.
Full pressing a guy over his head. There is no special effects in that. Neither was there probably any padding on the ground when that guy gets
slammed through the table. Welcome to Hollywood, kid.
And then you got Patrick Swayze doing front kicks off a springboard or whatever. I want to cut that in where like, and I want to hear it in the background going.
Leaps forward. Yeah. We're not getting out of this without me mentioning the practical effects of the throat rip. You saw the guy's trachea like sticking out of his neck, which I know is cringy for people like who are
so good.
It was so good, man.
They did a 2024 nod to that one in here with the kind of he broke his trach so he couldn't breathe and he just dies.
Yeah, basically just collapsed his throat, and it was lame.
Weak sauce. Rip his throat out.
Yeah, tear his throat out of his neck, dude, like Patrick Swayze would have done. R.I.P. One of the bigs. But the special effects versus obviously 2024 versus 1989 can't be any comparison because I didn't realize how much there was. So Shabbat kind of shocked me there, but that also probably explains why the original Roadhouse was made for a budget of $15 million, $1 million of that being the monster truck scene, as we learned in our original podcast.
Well, hold on. Let's run that through the inflation calculator.
All right, Chris's favorite inflation calculator.
So what did you say? 50 million?
15.
15. Yeah.
Okay. Jesus.
15 million.
15 million. So and 1 million of that, and that's probably about 4 times as much. So I mean, you're probably looking at a $60 million budget if my math is in the ballpark. So the fucking
so the new Roadhouse, and I mean maybe this is the reason because their special effects budget was way higher than I thought they were going to be. Obviously, the truck scene to me was a very, very cool scene, but it was purely a good portion out of place as fucking CGI. It was $85 million to make the new one, and what's crazy is Chris mentioned this is that so the original Roadhouse 1989 made $61.6 million at the box office.
Yeah,
I couldn't find any numbers not to mention, what were you gonna say?
I said, not to mention DVD sales and they were getting a cut of rentals back then too, I believe, at some point.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
I don't understand this actually. How does Amazon make money off of this?
So I assume what happens is you build up a catalog, and those that don't have Amazon Prime now buy Amazon Prime, and that's what your driving force is. The only way you can watch this fucking movie, you could buy it, which they just get money off of that, or you can do whatever Julie pays for that. So I don't know how fucking expensive, $100, whatever a year, $200 a year. So that's why Netflix will do like the Tyson Jake Paul fight. They're doing that because it gets a bump in subscribers. In theory.
I was saying that the contracts for subscriptions with streaming platforms it's on its way.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
So the inflation calculator is incorrect. It can't be right. Evidently, a $15 million movie would cost $37 million.
Yeah, that's about right. Like I said, it's
about right.
So it's around 40 times. It's around four times as much, like from the 80s to today.
Yeah, and without the special effects, using practical effects, that's still less than half what it took to make the 2024 remake with.
The caveat being, we like to do what we can with the inflation shit, but the reality is there's not a 1-for-1. There's not a magic calculator that can really calculate what people are making now, what it costs, what it's worth, whatever. It's just can't be done. Can't really be quantized. But
but there's a question there too. I wonder when people talk about the bloated budgets for some of these films, like how much. They've just gotten exponentially ridiculous when you talk about $85 million.
Well, so how much you think Gyllenhaal got paid for that?
I'm sure.
Do actors have a minimum? Mm-hmm. I know, back in the day, Jack Nicholson had a minimum of what was it, $20 million?
The actors, there is a minimum they have to get paid by the union, but actors can call their shot. So Gyllenhaal can say, dude, I'm 15 to walk in the door, and someone's got to pay that. So I'm sure he was high priced, and he probably was the majority of this budget. Connor probably were able to get Connor for $1 million or $2 million. I think they said I read some shit that he was the highest paid first acting job or some shit of any athlete or celebrity or some shit. But I mean, he's just stacking fucking cash. Good for him, man.
Yeah.
I mean, make your
stacking
money,
cash and knocking out old dudes in bars. Leaf's favorite.
Make your money.
Well, he's he already had that distillery, right?
He sold it.
He sold it. Now he has a brewery.
Yep, and we'll buy that, and he'll sell it too.
And maybe he'll pay us to advertise for it here on the
exclusive
Let's Rewind podcast.
I'd like to try some Conor McGregor Irish Amber whatever.
Me too. We'll get it, man.
Sounds good. Sounds really, really good. Yeah, I'm down with it. Okay. All
right.
We'll name it One Side Red.
Stout, yeah.
The next segment is just going to be a quick synopsis of each movie.
Yeah, story versus story.
I'm going to give just the general synopsis, and then you two and I will also follow up behind you. We're just going to shotgun sort of our favorite moments from each movie. And
shotgun to the dick.
One more time, and then we're gonna get a final verdict on these two movies. Which one is the best? Which one's better? Which one did what right?
It's funny you said that shotgun to the dick. That's Rob Corddry from Hot Tub Time Machine. Mm-hmm. The guy that plays Brant in this movie. I had to look him up because I was convinced that he was
They were
Roy
related.
Corddry's son.
I can see it in his face. Yeah,
Yeah.
good call. Yeah. All right, man. Hit us with these summaries.
You got it, man. So Roadhouse, 1989, serene and iconic, but powerful and lethal. Expert martial artist Dalton, played by Patrick Swayze, is the best. Don't cringe, Shadwick is the best professional bouncer in the business. With his reputation preceding him, Dalton arrives in Jasper, Missouri to clean up the Double Deuce. That's right. You actually got a name for the Roadhouse in the original. A seedy bar terrorized by troublemakers. However, Dalton is unaware that the villainous local entrepreneur, Brad Wesley, wants things to stay as they are.
Ooh.
As a result, a newcomer gets a deep stab wound from Wesley's hired goons, catching charming physician Dr. Elizabeth Clay's eye. For this moment alone, corrupt Wesley has enough reason to get rid of Dalton at all costs because she's hot. We know so. But a bouncer like Dalton always has the final say. I like that. It's like a 1980s, it's like. Remember TV Guide? Like the TV Guide channel?
Oh, shit.
Dude, you'd be reading it as a kid, dude, waiting for the
I'd always
Shannon
turn
Tweed
to it and I'd be
movie
like,
to pop
fuck,
up.
I missed it.
Yeah, and you had to wait for it.
You guys remember the Sunday paper? Getting the TV Guide out of the Sunday paper?
Yes,
Yeah, man.
absolutely. All right, favorite and most hated scenes from Roadhouse 1989. Shadwick, go.
I don't know. Put me on the spot here.
I mean, as we're going through the plot, like any moments that like stand out to you. Same thing with Chris. Chris can go if you're not ready.
My favorite, I'm not going to steal your thunder, Leaf. I'll leave your favorite to when it's your turn.
Thank you. Thank you.
I liked all of the Terry Funk fight scenes in this just because I'm a wrestling nerd.
Dude, he's so good, man. I thought about that too.
My favorite was the relationship between Swayze and Sam Elliott's character. The cringeworthy moments, which were also cool, but the fucking monster truck, like I don't know why, and just weird. And the parts that I don't like, but it was so bad now I like, is the fat guy villain. Like I don't know, polar bear fell on me. Like I don't know, like I fucking shouldn't like it, but I don't like it. But because I don't like it so much, now I like it. So that's what I got.
That makes perfect sense.
Oh, and wall sex.
I always wanted to try that. Oh, young Doc was like,
a
I gotta
16-year-old
do
back
some of
just throwing it in there.
I still say he had to be on a step stool.
Yeah, he probably was.
Oh
man.
my god, he probably was.
All right, Shadow,
Patrick
what you
Swayze
got,
was
man?
little,
I mean, Sam Elliott, so he stole the show for me. So, I like the scene where Swayze's having his ass handed to him in the alley behind the bar, and he comes up like just kind of nonchalantly, like, "What's going on, mijo?"
Yeah,
like he's watching his friend get beat.
Yeah.
That's so badass.
Just taking a proper ass beating.
Yeah, just so badass, man. I love it.
Oh, it's so funny.
My least favorite, I mentioned earlier, Jimmy driving away after blowing up Red's house.
Skeleton laugh.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
I'm gonna echo Shadwick on that one. I think Jimmy was my favorite and most hated character and scene. I couldn't stand. Jimmy was so shoehorned. His acting was so bad, and he was just supposed to be a psychopath. But all of his lines just came off as
so
maniacal and
cheeky
crazy. Yeah. And then when he got his throat ripped, that made Roadhouse for me.
Yep,
Watching
I was
Jimmy
gonna
get his
say,
throat
that's-
ripped out.
Well, and I gotta say too, my least favorite. I don't think we've touched on this before, but Patrick Swayze's shitty fighting.
Yeah. So, all right. So,
You got it.
so that's we've got ours on that one. So on the new one, go ahead and read us the new synopsis.
New one. The synopsis for those of you who haven't seen it on Roadhouse 2024
on Amazon Prime, SpongeBob podcast.
Dalton is a middleweight fighter who is going through bad times. A tragic encounter in the ring is traumatic for him. Tragic. And gives him suicidal thoughts. We didn't mention that aspect of it, right? He attempted to unalive himself at one point in time in the
train.
Yeah, it changes his mind only to accidentally be unalive. How embarrassing. To make ends meet, he takes up the job of a bouncer at a Roadhouse, which is literally the name of the bar. They just call it Roadhouse.
Yeah, it's kind of a clever little joke, I guess.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was pretty funny. However, things do not go smooth for him since a local gangster boss wants to take over the property and keeps sending goons to the Roadhouse to create problems. Dalton then fights them all with the help of his associates at the Roadhouse.
Gotcha.
So there it is. Is that intriguing to you?
So
versus the
for me, I didn't realize they were all CGI fight scenes. I knew the first ones were. I thought the other ones were real, which kudos to them. Well fucking done. I just thought they were laying it in there, brother. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Gyllenhaal said that before every take where they were fighting, he would tell Conor, "Remember, don't hit me in the face." Yeah. And Connor's like, "Bring out your pink panties."
Yeah. You're watching me DMs.
You're watching me DMs with a broken fucking ankle talking shit. Love it.
Laying there, dude.
So I also enjoyed Conor as the bad guy. I know that's like a hot take and people fucking hated him. I like Conor as a fucking maniacal, crazy, but probably playing himself. But I wish they would have let him, like we said earlier, wish you would have let him be himself a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like the fact that there was no connection at all. Like there was no connection with Dalton and anyone. I felt like the library, like the little girl and the dad that could have gone the way of the hardware store in the original. The doctor also was just nothing there. And even the bar owner I really felt fell flat because, again, this is not a shot at anybody's acting chops or anything like that. Like, far be it from me to criticize that, but there's nothing there on the story. It just kind of seemed like this. I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but going back and thinking about, actually, which is funny because you think of Roadhouse kind of campy in your head, like the 89 one.
Yeah.
It's a great fucking story, and everything made sense and went together. So, that's me on the new one. All right, Chadwick.
Yeah, I didn't like how over the top all the bad guys were. Like the bikers in that first scene, the guy just, it's cringy to me.
Yeah.
And I actually hate that word, cringy.
And they may have, maybe they're going for like an 80s feel, but even if they're going for that, it was, to your point, it was way over the top.
I did not like the doctor. They had that the one little interaction where Dalton is sitting there eating, and he calls it conch.
Yeah.
And she corrects him and says it's conch. And the whole time I was thinking either one of those sounds like a slang term for pussy. Which I guess technically pussy is a slang term for snatch, but
if you put your ear to it, sometimes too you can hear the ocean on both.
I knew where that was going. I could watch it in slow motion like a train wreck.
I don't know, man. If you hear liquid coming out of one of them, anyway. But the high point for me is Jake Gyllenhaal. Like to me, he's a better actor. I mean, hell, he's been acting since he played Billy Crystal's son in City Slickers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's a throwback.
He's great at Bubble Boy too.
Donnie Darko, Southpaw is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Same here.
And he is phenomenal in that. If anybody has not seen it,
it's great.
Go watch it.
I loved him in Nightcrawler. He was insanely good.
Oh, it's fucking weird, creepy ass.
Yeah.
but and plus he doesnhe have abs. He has slabs.
Yeah.
Which is just impressive as shit to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And he comes off more realistically as a fighter.
Agreed.
Yeah, I just like him overall better than Patrick Swayze. I wish I didn't even watch that remake of Point Break, which is my favorite. That's my favorite Swayze movie.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Like he's much more believable in that as like a surfer dude.
Yeah.
Bank robber. Yeah, the new one, it looked terrible. The guy that was supposed to be, I guess, Patrick Swayze, I'd never even heard of, and he didn't look the part at all.
Right.
So, I wish I could, I wish Jake Gyllenhaal had done that movie.
Yeah.
But
that would have been awesome.
Yeah, Leaf, what about you?
Well, I'm going to go opposite from Chadwick. I think that the over-the-top villains, the over-the-top Conor McGregor performances were my favorite part. I laughed the entire time. When Jake Gyllenhaal beats up the guys in the very beginning, he's driving to the hospital, and they're all sitting in the car together. I laughed the entire time. That, I was like, why are they, just chilling in the car together? After he just, beat the shit out of him. And I realized it was to show, his compassion.
Right.
He had tried to change from him murdering that guy in the UFC ring, which I know we didn't talk a lot about. But, yes, Jake Gyllenhaal, much like the original. Yeah, that's his Memphis. That's his Patrick Swayze moment. I killed the guy. I went overboard to kind of show his anger issues.
Patrick Swayze didn't have a choice. That woman never told you she was married.
And so I loved it when immediately when Conor McGregor shows up, he's just banging some of the dude's wife.
Yeah.
Just drops down, ass cheeks flared, doing the Conor McGregor swagger walk. That made me laugh immediately because while you're right, he had a lot of really terrible one-liners, which I also liked.
Man, I especially after Chris mentioned, the way he was dick flexing.
Oh yeah,
that one time. I really thought I thought we were going to get some hangy down.
Yeah, I did too.
I did too.
I thought
I was about to see some.
I'm a scared.
I thought I was about to see some brain too in a couple of scenes, and I wouldn't be surprised.
It's the brain.
And I mean, where this movie. So I loved all that.
Oh, Redbeard.
I loved all that because this Roadhouse is what you get when you remove the brother story from Sam Elliott, Wade Garrett. All you're left with is what everyone will tell you the original Roadhouse is. It's ass, tits, and Patrick Swayze roundhousing and breaking dudes' arms and stuff. And that's not all the original Roadhouse was. And if you've seen it, you know that there is a deep story between two grown men and their bromo ship. And that's just gone from this Roadhouse, and that's my biggest.
He used to fuck guys like him in prison.
It's true.
He did. Yeah. He really did. And you're missing all of that in the new Roadhouse, and it hurts it. It's just there's no connection to any characters. The action scene, like you guys mentioned, were cool, even though they were CGI. Despite the Post Malone fight scene, which is that made me laugh too. The whole thing is sort of like a goofy action comedy to me, and there's not a lot of serious moments in it. Dude gets eaten by an alligator for God's sake.
In a throwaway moment. In a
throwaway.
That's their monster truck.
Yeah, it's just okay, he's dead. He gets killed for no reason, and for some reason they kept making it a point to be like, they'll never find his body. Yeah, they kept being like, they'll never find his body. Alligators hide their food. They probably said that 4 or 5 times. I feel like, and I'm like, why does this matter? This guy doesn't even matter in the plot. It just suffers extremely bad from a writing, just a writing gap because there's no connection with any of the other characters. Dalton, Conor McGregor are the two stand-up characters. Everybody else basically just gets left in the dirt for, obvious reasons. It's just, there's a fat barista there / bartender. Yeah. They try to make her a thing. She's nothing. She's annoying too. Yeah. All the other characters graded
she's
on
no
me.
Patty Mayonnaise in the original one.
And they do go.
That's who it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they do go. They do go a little too far, in my opinion. The last act where they crash a boat into the Roadhouse. I think
it's so over the top.
It's Michael Bay-ish.
Yeah, that's it. It was, and I mean that was maybe that was their monster truck moment. I don't fucking know, but
yeah.
All right, so. I guess is this where we're gonna go ahead and give our final thoughts, man?
We're wrapping it up. We've talked about the cast and characters. We've talked about the filming process. If any of y'all want to throw in on any of those before, but let's. Other than that, and we've also talked about the plot synopsis and what is different and what we liked about both movies. So it's just fine. It's time to give.
All right, let's get into it. So
here's final verdict.
There's four categories here. and then we'll just give her. So, which movie has a better cast? Sans Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm going original Roadhouse with the best cast.
Yeah.
Shadow,
Yes.
what say you?
Yeah, I gotta agree.
Leaf?
Yep, 100%. The best cast is definitely original Roadhouse.
Which movie has the better setting, the showing and setting? I go with the new one. New one on that one. Leaf.
New one looks way better, man. The new one just looks just clean. It's more fun to watch.
And we have which one has the better story, which we hit on, and I think it's a no contest for me at all. The original has a much, much better story. I connect better with the original one. Chadwick?
I think if this new one wasn't named Roadhouse, I would like it more.
I agree.
I think I don't know what you name it, but you
the double deuce.
Well, no, because that's not there. But if you,
it's a fucking kitchen.
Yeah, if you're not comparing it to the new one, I think I mean, if you're not comparing the new one to the old one, I think I like the new one better. Better setting. Gyllenhaal to me is a more likable character. Yeah, it's just comparing the two.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's no connection in the new one.
Yeah, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta go with the old one, I guess.
All right, Leaf.
I understand exactly what Shadwick's saying, and I feel like the reason that I feel the same way is that there are two different movies because you've removed that connection with Sam Elliott's character, which we already mentioned before. But like a final note to that is just it's cripplingly bad.
Yeah, it cripples the story.
Yeah, the new one is fun to watch. I enjoyed it. I would even watch it again. It was actually
100%.
hilarious. But it's not. There's no story there, and so if the question is which movie had the better story, hands down, 1989 Roadhouse, because it has a story. There's characters you care about.
Right.
Even the people he's teaching, the bartender, you have invested in. In the Double Deuce.
Yeah.
You have invested interest in those guys. Like he's mentoring them up. He's raising them up, and you get they did a little sprinkling of that in the new one, but you could tell it was shoehorned in. We got about a 30-second scene of him recruiting one of the new. It was another bartender into what did he? He was like, "Oh, you box a little? Well, you're a bouncer."
And he's
now.
like, looks like your hands are bruised.
Yeah.
Like you fought before, whatever.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like my mother-in-law's peach cobbler. Like it's, bear with me. She for one of our Easter or whatever, she made some peach cobbler, and everybody was like, "It's just not good." But you know what? It was good. It just didn't taste like peach cobbler. It was it was a great dessert, and
excellent,
and I loved it. But you can't call it peach cobbler.
Gotcha.
Excellent analogy. Agreed.
All right, man. So if we're going overall, the final take. The money shot, if you will. We're gonna fade to black and then just have a caption that says all these dudes came over each other. No, the final cut. I'm going original Roadhouse, and I'm gonna be honest. When we started this show today, I was on the fence until we kind of talked through all the plot points and everything, and the original one. I'm gonna go original again. Not taking away from the new one's fun. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's an enjoyable movie. I just think the layers of the original one keep me coming back. And also wall sex.
I like that. I like that a lot.
That sounds good. I think I'll have that.
The wall du jour. All right, Shadwick, what about you?
Yeah.
Wall du jour.
The wall of the day.
That sounds good.
We call it conch on the wall.
Yeah.
Some wall conch.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I guess.
You hear the ocean in there.
Yeah.
Please.
There's definitely something percolating.
Yeah.
Please edit this shit out. Please.
Oh, it's to me to my final. Which one I like better?
Final word, dude. Who you giving it to, brother? Got to.
I got to go original.
Nice.
Just for the more well-rounded out characters.
Leaf,
make
me care about something.
Agreed.
Leaf? Yeah, I agree. I believe it's going to be unanimous here. On Be Kind, Let's Rewind. I'm going with the best movie overall, all things considered. Original, 1989, Patrick Swayze, Roadhouse. And I'll tell you what really sinks it for me. It's not only the story, because we've talked about that numerous times, but it's also the fact that I didn't have to see tons of Conor McGregor's man ass. And what is the deal with modern movies and just wanting to show dudes nonstop? We got nothing. We got literally nothing from the new Roadhouse, but just fucking
this is where we live.
This shit's annoying, man.
Bitches leave.
That's what I want to say. All right.
The fight scenes, I love the fight scenes in the new one. The special effects were good. But again, the story, everything, all things considered, definitely the original Roadhouse just hits harder. And if you want to know which movie in general is just a better overall movie, you're going to really enjoy the new Roadhouse. It gets a bad rap. Mm-hmm. It really does. I heard it was just the worst thing ever. It's not.
It's not. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's just a mindless sort of.
Yeah, like Shadwick said. Any other name, and you're like, yeah, this is a good movie, or it's a fun movie.
So
you would have enjoyed it. The old Roadhouse it's got depth, it's got character, it's got flavor, and most importantly, it has female nudity in it. Back before we were scared to show girls naked for some reason, but not to show men naked.
Yeah. So
it's our payback. We want something for us.
Hot stuff coming through.
So to counter our decision here, our friend and correspondent Gibbs texted me last night and says,
"All right."
He says, "Bruh, new Roadhouse is much better than old Roadhouse."
He's just a Conor McGregor ass fan.
I said, "How so?" And he says, "I think the most glaring difference is this new one don't suck."
Yes.
And he follows that up with, "I just don't believe that someone would willingly go to Missouri."
Go ahead, add his Missouri to our Detroit and Cleveland list of places we can't go anymore. And with that, I think that pretty much sums it up, guys. And I'm going to take us over to our Norm Macdonald clip of the week.
The nation is still reeling from Thursday's bombshell announcement that Lisa Marie Presley has filed for divorce from Michael Jackson. According to friends, the two were never a good match. She's more of a stay-at-home type, and he's more of a homosexual pedophile.